Hello Journal viewers. Now, the original plan was to put this episode out now, hoping that all would be well in the world, thinking that, oh, Black Widow will be out by now and No Time to Die would be out. But unfortunately, what we didn't foresee happening was a major virus taking over the whole world and shutting down every single cinema in the UK. Which is quite difficult considering that this is an episode about cinema etiquette. We're still putting this episode out now because, let's be honest, some of you need a bit of a refresher on cinema etiquette anyway, and there are some points in here that are actually quite informative, given the fact that we talk about films that local cinema traditionally wouldn't have got. We talk about the ideas about how cinemas make their money. So let this be a bit of a lesson. Whenever they reopen their doors, whenever that may be, take these little bits of advice into account, because you may actually be supporting your independent and your multiplex cinemas a little bit more by taking some of these into your mind when you go back into the cinemas, especially some of the points regarding concessions and what sort of films they get in. As I say, use them or lose them. Universal may be putting out all their films on video on demand for the time being, but as we keep saying, theatrical first forever. Enjoy this month's episode of The Journal, guys. You've all heard Mark Strong doing his thing before films at Vue, or that guy called Chris laying down the gauntlet at Odeon. But what is the optimal etiquette for the big screen experience? Vue hit the main 3 points on the head. No sudden ringtones, no glaring screens, oh, that's the old one.
No more talking. Switch off your phone, sit back, relax, and get lost in the big screen experience.
It doesn't roll as nicely off the tongue. But that's just 2010. With the advent of recliners, crunchier food, louder drinks and all the luxury developments that the new renaissance of cinemas can bring, that trio of tropes feels a little bit bland. I think there's a few extra points the industry can add to that etiquette list. So, for this episode of The Journal, we're going to give you the full Smith guide to cinema etiquette. Now, this is a basic list of things to do and things not to do when you're in a cinema. It's all stuff I've witnessed over the years, and as you'd expect, there is quite a lot of satire here, so don't treat it as gospel. Do have Earl Grey. Lots of it. Do get there super early. Real early, like 45 minutes before the adverts early. Nobody likes latecomers. Do pre-book your tickets, especially if it's on a film that your local cinema wouldn't have traditionally procured. It's all good having an independent film like, I don't know, Granada Road or The Hanged for a week. But if you want said cinema to play more of that kind of thing, they have to be able to say to the distributor, look, this is how many people bought tickets to the film, X% of them were pre-books, pre-admissions, all that sort of thing. A fantastic case study of this is this year's Best Picture winner, Parasite. It opened day and date on Curzon Home Cinema, but because it's a streaming film, a lot of the multiplexes were of the mentality that, oh, we're not going to show it. Then of course, it came, it went, it dominated.
I'm ready to drink tonight.
Curzon gave it a saturation release, and it became the highest grossing foreign language film of all time here in the UK. And don't come at me saying, oh, but I want to book a birthday party and I don't have time for the weekend up. All of the mainstream cinemas have their times up by the end of 5 PM on a Wednesday afternoon. The Cinema Week runs Friday to Thursday. And like I say, by 5 PM on a Wednesday, all of the time should be out on the respective cinema chains' websites. Unless whoever was in the office that morning forgot to press the button to push the schedule to said cinema's website. That was a fun day, that one. Do have a Greenberg with you for Screen Unseen. Inside joke. Do take full advantage of things like Limitless, Unlimited, and something that I think they call Super Monday. I don't know if it's still going to be Super Monday by the time this goes out. Vue are literally tinkering and changing with things every week. I mean, they've just put, at time of recording, I've just put West End down to £10 a ticket, every film, every day. Typical Vue, eh? Do get very tactical with your concessions. It's all good paying through the nose for popcorn, but something that you may not know it is actually in the terms and conditions that you can actually bring your own food in. There are two major rules that govern this though. Number one is it's got to be cold food. You can't bring your own McDonald's in, you can't bring chicken nuggets in, you can't bring pizza in. The only hot food you're really allowed to bring in are the things that you can buy in cinema, because we've got to make our money somewhere. We've got to make our money somewhere. It's one of the worst kept secrets in the industry that your ticket does not go back into the cinema. It all goes back to the filmmakers. That's why they're so adamant about anti-piracy. But you can bring your own food in, as long as it's cold and it's not alcoholic. It's the reason why they're putting all these fancy bars into cinemas. Odeon have been doing it with their Oscars bar offering. View have been doing it with their Edit bar offering. Cineworld, been a bit unconventional. They've been putting Starbucks into their cinemas. No idea why, because why not? But be tactical with your concessions, because you might save a bit of money in the process. Especially when your local cinema charges $10.99 for a large popcorn and drink combo. I know, I'm firing all the shots today. Do befriend your cinema team. Now, they can be your greatest adversaries and arguably the source of a lot of great banter. Especially in foyer, off-peak, when the place is dead. The chats I've had with those guys are legendary. I used to say that Friday night in View was arguably the place to be. In the glory days, when all of my friends worked there. I mean, you never know who you're going to bump into in a cinema foyer. Never thought I'd meet my best friend when they were working behind the Ben & Jerry's counter that fateful Thursday afternoon when the refurb got approved, or find people to board game with, or in some cases bump into people who are natural team leaders and have a sort of unique quality to them. Yeah, I think he's left the company actually. Do keep your ticket stub with you at all times. You never know if they will say, we need to see your ticket, when you go and buy a beer at some of the bars that have been putting it at cinemas around the UK. Honestly, bars in cinemas, who came up with that one? And now the things that you shouldn't do in a cinema. Don't moan at the cinema companies for not putting the films onto streaming services. Believe it or not, that's a decision that they don't get to control. It's always in the hands of the distributors. So get in touch with people like Disney, Paramount, Warner, Universal. Whoever's logo appears before the film begins are traditionally the people who control the distribution rights, which mean putting it into cinemas and putting it on home video and on-demand services. The cinemas don't get any say in what happens beyond what is known as the 16-week theatrical window. And believe me, we can make an episode of the journal about the 16-week window in the future. We might actually do it. But beyond cinemas, it's not a point of contention for people like View, Odeon or Cineworld to get involved in. So, if you want a film to be released early, go to the people who make the decisions, because it's not like your lovely customer assistants can help you anytime soon. Don't walk into a film 40 minutes late, talk for the entire duration of Mission Impossible Fallout, and then at the third time of asking, get kicked out by a member of staff after I had to bring them in. That was legitimately the crux for the pilot episode, an unpublished pilot episode of What the Hell Happened. Insert clip here. Tonight, I had to endure an audience who were, well, not a full audience. I've got to legally say that to keep all bases covered. But some audience members tonight were on their phones for the entire film. They were chatting for most of the film, and I'm like, really? Do you want to do that on a big screen experience like Mission Impossible? All I need to say is Tom Cruise literally broke his ankle making this film. Don't believe me? Here's the footage. Seriously, look at it. Just watching that back makes me cringe on the highest level. It's a good scene. It's a very good scene, and arguably one of the best bits of the film. Stunt work is fantastic. But the fact that audiences aren't being engaged by filming that way anymore, that's quite stunning. Yeah, get on the wrong side of me in a cinema and you will have the wrath of the great men and women of View pressed on your back. And the great men and women of Odeon, but I don't know them as well yet. The masters will change that. Don't watch an animated film with someone who you know doesn't like animation. Learn that the hard way. Don't be a dick to staff. Yes, the popcorn might be expensive. Yes, the sound is loud. Yes, the seats are leather, but not real leather, because they would be an absolute nightmare to clean. But it's never their fault. 9 times out of 10, a fault in a multiplex is easily rectified by actually saying, "Can I speak to your manager?" and be polite, be dignified. If that's not the case, it's usually always head office's fault. Put in a good feedback form. It's worked for me over 200 times. Don't moan about the adverts. They don't actually control them. Another company does. Oh, bloody hell. So if you have issues with those 12 minutes before the film, get in touch with DCM or Pearl and Dean. They're the ones who actually control the damn things. Now this one's genuinely a big one. Don't use cinema as a babysitter. My number one complaint about the industry right now is the reliance on the A in 12A. Parents are using this to blatantly send the kids out for an afternoon, and to that I say this. They've rated it a 12 for a damn good reason. That A means you need an adult with anyone under that age. I'm not fussed about people saying, "But I'm fine with kids seeing this sort of thing." Imagine how they'll feel in a couple of years' time when they inevitably get turned away for a 15 because they don't have any ID on them. If the highest 2 ratings are legally enforced, it's got to be applied, like on DVD, to the 12 as well. Let's get this in our heads. The BBFC are there to act as the judge, and you are the jury. You have to make the informed decision about what you want your kids to watch. So if it says 12, you treat it as gospel. You don't want to expose your kids to something like the drilling scene in Spectre, or even worse, if they got their hands on Sausage Party. Oh god, no. And the infamous ending scene that left myself, Ed Greenberg, and fellow friend of the blog Aaron Wilson very speechless. And speaking of that final scene, and this is arguably the point that you should really not do at a cinema screen, don't have sex in the screens. Unfortunately, I actually had to witness this one happen on the 2018 birthday marathon. That was a funny session, that one. During a showing of Hereditary of all things. They have night vision cameras in there. They can literally see everything. Now, I'm going to spare you from the graphic details because, quite frankly, you don't want to know that sort of stuff. But there's a reason I always say, keep it PG in the screens. Especially if you're in a fully recliner site. Having spoken with my friends who work at various companies around the country representing View, Odeon, The Light, a couple of independents as well, this is an issue that a lot of staff have to witness on an all too frequent basis. So please have some respect for the people who've got to clean up after the film and put something on the end of it. That thing being a lifetime ban and the look of disapproval from cinema goers like me. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Don't do it. Keep your PDA at home. So that just about wraps up our little guide to etiquette. I know the timing of this episode couldn't have been worse with all of the cinemas closed at the minute. But like I say, the journal keeps on a-rolling. So from here on out, we're going to be on the next batch of episodes that have been filmed. So if you want to sort of get in early and shape ideas for the content, patreon.com/LeeJackSmith is the best place to do so. You can even hit me up at Twitter at LeeJackSmith or facebook.com/SmithOnFilm. It's the first time we've really plugged the new Facebook page. Now we've got the URL sorted. Hooray! Joys of pre-recording. But honestly though, hopefully you are keeping well with the whole self-isolation thing. If it is over by now, great. If it's not over by now, keep on trucking. Netflix is there, streaming is there, but remember, these cinemas are going to need your support when they reopen. Theatrical first forever. As I keep on saying, the big screen is arguably the best place to watch a film. It's all good having 5.1 surround sound systems. It's all good having ability to watch films day and day. But when these cinemas reopen their doors, whenever they may be ready to do so, I want all of you to go out, buy your tickets, buy 2, buy 3, buy 4, buy your popcorn, buy your Earl Greys, even though you've put the price up an extra 5p since I recorded this. It's $2.20 now, same as Odeon. And I'm fuming about that. Hopefully that gets rectified before they reopen again. But I cannot urge you enough. Be ready for the reopening, because when we do get the all clear to go back into a cinema again, it's going to be a great day. A day worthy of a marathon, perhaps. Because, let's be real, if they reopen in July, that would be like a perfect case scenario altogether, but that is irrelevant. Stay safe, stay good, don't stockpile toilet paper, because I've seen a lot of that in the press at time of recording. You're idiots if you do that. And until next month, I've been Jack from LeeJackSmith.com, and we'll see you at the movies. They should totally have signs like at swimming pools. No sudden ringtones, no glaring screens, no heavy petting, no children crawling around on the floor, and no talking. Oh, and if you happen to find something down the side or back of your seat, simply speak to a member of staff who'll be happy to retrieve the used condom. That's going on the outside reel. Just before we do let you go, though, a little bit of a heads up. You might want to read up on your history of film for next month's episode, because, well, we're doing a quiz. See you next month, everyone.